Something is shifting in male-female dynamics that's making a lot of women uncomfortable. Sigma males are opting out of traditional relationship structures, and it's creating a power imbalance nobody expected. The game is changing, and the old rules don't work anymore. For decades, the dating and relationship landscape had predictable patterns. Alphas competed for status. To attract women, betas provided stability and resources. Women selected from these options based on what they valued most. Then Sigma males started opting out entirely, not competing, not providing on demand, not participating in the traditional structures. And something unexpected happened. The power dynamics shifted in ways that are making women genuinely uncomfortable. This isn't about hating women. This is about understanding what happens when a growing segment of high-value men refuse to play by the established rules. Oh, and by the way, I've got something very special for you. Sigma's Black Book of Untouchable Power. It's an ebook that contains the forbidden secret knowledge that will turn you into the man others fear and respect. Grab it in the description section or pinned comment below. Let's break down exactly what's shifting and why it matters. 1. They can't be controlled through traditional leverage. The first reason women find Sigma males unsettling is that traditional relationship leverage doesn't work on them. In traditional dynamics, women have specific forms of leverage sexual access: emotional withdrawal, social approval, the threat of leaving. These tools have historically worked to influence male behavior. Alphas respond to these because they need validation and status. Threaten their ego or status, they adjust behavior. Betas respond because they fear abandonment and need connection. Threaten to leave or withdraw affection, they comply. But Sigma males don't respond to any of these leverage points, and that's fundamentally destabilizing to women who are used to having these tools available sexual access as leverage. Sigma males can go months without sex and be completely fine. It's not a need they're desperate to fulfill. Withholding it doesn't create the pressure it creates with other men. Emotional withdrawal as leverage? They're already emotionally self-sufficient. Withdrawing warmth or connection doesn't hurt them the way it would hurt men who need emotional connection. Social approval as leverage? They don't care what others think. Threatening to make them look bad socially or create social consequences has no impact. Threat of leaving as leverage? They're comfortable alone, often prefer it. The threat of ending the relationship doesn't create fear because they're not afraid of being alone. This means traditional relationship negotiation tools don't work. And when your tools don't work, you lose power. This isn't about Sigma males being immune to influence. It's that the traditional leverage points women have relied on don't create the pressure they're designed to create. A woman used to being able to influence male behavior through these methods encounters a Sigma male and discovers none of them work. That's unsettling. It feels like losing control. And it is, because the relationship power dynamics require that both parties have leverage. When one party's traditional leverage doesn't work, the balance shifts dramatically. Women who are used to having relationship power through traditional means find themselves without that power with Sigma males, and that's uncomfortable. 2. They are genuinely fine alone. The second dynamic shift is that Sigma males aren't performing independence, they're genuinely content alone. And that changes everything. Most men claim to be fine alone but actually need relationships. They say they don't need anyone, but their behavior reveals they do. This gives women security. He says he's independent, but I know he needs me. Sigma males actually are fine alone. Not performing, not pretending. Genuinely content with solitude for extended periods. This creates a fundamentally different power dynamic. When a man needs the relationship more than the woman does, she has power through his need. When both parties want the relationship, but neither needs it, power equalizes. When the man is genuinely fine alone and the woman isn't, power inverts. Many women discover too late that the Sigma male they're with isn't performing independence. He actually would be fine if she left. Not devastated, not hurt. Just fine. Back to his preferred state of solitude. That realization is terrifying for women who are used to knowing that ending the relationship would hurt the man more than it hurts them. Suddenly, the leverage of leaving doesn't exist because he's genuinely okay with that outcome. This doesn't mean he doesn't value the relationship. It means his well-being isn't dependent on it. He's with her by choice, not by need. And choice can be revoked at any time without emotional devastation. Women used to being the less attached party find themselves as the more attached party with Sigma males. They care more about maintaining the relationship than he does. Their emotional investment exceeds his. That's a power inversion that's deeply uncomfortable, especially for women who are used to being the selectors, the ones with options, the ones who decide whether the relationship continues with Sigma males. They're not sure who has that power. And uncertainty about relationship power is destabilizing. 3. They select extremely carefully. The third shift is about access and selectivity. Sigma males are far more selective about relationships than most men. And this inverts the traditional selection dynamic. Traditionally, women are the selectors. Men compete and pursue. Women choose from available options. This gives women power through scarcity. They're the limited resource that men compete for. Sigma males don't compete. And they're extremely selective about who they give access to. This shifts them from pursuers to selectors. They're not trying to get into relationships. They're not pursuing women. They're not competing for attention. They're content alone unless someone exceptional appears who makes relationship more appealing than solitude. This means the woman has to meet his standards, not the other way around. She has to be worth the energy cost, the autonomy sacrifice, the complexity that relationship introduces. Most women aren't used to being evaluated this carefully. They're used to men being eager for access, grateful for attention, willing to adjust to get the relationship. With Sigma males, the dynamic is reversed. He's evaluating whether she's worth disrupting his preferred state of independence, and most women don't pass that evaluation. This is threatening to women used to being the selectors. Suddenly, they're being selected against, filtered out, found not worth the cost. And the criteria he's using aren't what they're used to. He's not evaluating beauty or status or what she can offer socially. He's evaluating whether she's low maintenance enough, interesting enough, genuine enough to be worth the energy. Many high-value women who are used to being highly desired find themselves not making the cut with Sigma males. Not because they're not attractive or successful, because they require too much energy, too much performance, too much compromise of his autonomy. That's a hard pill to swallow. Being rejected, not because you're not good enough in traditional metrics, but because you're too high maintenance for a man who values solitude more than company. The rise of Sigma males means more men are operating as selectors rather than pursuers, and women used to. Being the selectors find this inversion uncomfortable. 4. They don't need validation. The fourth shift is about validation and ego. Sigma males don't need female validation, which removes a major source of female power. Traditionally, men need validation from women. Being desired by women, approved by women, chosen by women, validates male worth. This gives women power through their ability to grant or withhold validation. A woman's attention validates an alpha's status. A woman's love validates a beta's worth. This validation is powerful because men need it psychologically. Sigma males don't need validation from women or from anyone. Their sense of worth is internally generated and doesn't require external confirmation. This removes a woman's ability to influence him through validation or its withdrawal. Giving him attention doesn't make him feel validated. Withdrawing attention doesn't hurt his ego. Compliments don't inflate his sense of worth. Criticism doesn't deflate it. Approval doesn't make him try harder. Disapproval doesn't make him adjust. He's psychologically complete without female validation. He's not indifferent to women. He's indifferent to their validation of him. For women used to having power through their ability to make men feel good or bad about themselves, this is destabilizing. One of their primary sources of influence simply doesn't work. She can't build him up to create loyalty. She can't tear him down to create insecurity. She can't use her approval as reward or her disapproval as punishment. None of it impacts his sense of self. This makes her feel powerless in the relationship. How do you influence someone who doesn't need your validation? How do you negotiate when approval and disapproval don't matter? Women discover they have less influence over Sigma males than they've had over other men. And that loss of influence feels like loss of power because it is. 5. They walk away without looking back. The fifth dynamic shift is about finality. When Sigma males end relationships, they're done completely. No going back, no second chances. And that terrifies women used to having the option to return. In traditional dynamics, women often maintain the option to return. Break up with a man, he's usually open to reconciliation if she changes her mind. He'll take her back. Maybe after some pride-wounded resistance, but eventually he'll accept her return. This gives women power through optionality. She can leave, explore other options, and return if those options don't work out. The relationship remains available as a backup. Sigma males don't work this way. When they're done, they're permanently done. The door doesn't just close, it locks, and he walks away from it entirely. No waiting for her to come back, no hoping she'll change her mind. No leaving the door open, just complete and permanent removal. This removes the optionality that gives women safety. With most men, leaving isn't truly final. She can always reconsider, always come back, always reopen that door. With Sigma males, leaving is final. She'll never get access again. The relationship becomes permanently unavailable the moment it ends. This creates a pressure that women aren't used to. She can't test the relationship by leaving. She can't use leaving as leverage. She can't explore other options while keeping him as backup. Every moment with a Sigma male is final, in the sense that she can't get it back if she walks away. This creates genuine scarcity, genuine consequence to her choices. Women who are used to having optionality find this terrifying. They're used to being able to leave and come back, used to men waiting, used to being able to change their minds. Sigma males remove that option, and knowing that walking away is permanent creates a form of relationship pressure women aren't accustomed to managing. Here's what's actually happening at a macro level. For decades, relationship dynamics operated on assumptions about male need and female selection power. Men needed relationships more than women did. Men competed for female attention. Women selected from available men. Women had more relationship power through scarcity and male need. The rise of Sigma males disrupts all of these assumptions. A growing segment of high-value men don't need relationships, don't compete for attention, select rather than pursue, are genuinely fine alone. This creates a new dynamic where these men have power through their genuine indifference to relationship outcomes. They're not performing indifference as a strategy. They're actually indifferent because they're content alone. Women who are used to having relationship power through traditional means find themselves without power when dealing with Sigma males. The leverage points don't work. The negotiation tools fail. The optionality disappears. This isn't about Sigma males trying to dominate women or gain power over them. They're just operating according to their actual preferences, which happen to make them largely immune to traditional relationship power dynamics. And when one party becomes immune to the other party's power, the dynamics fundamentally shift. The fear isn't really about Sigma males specifically. It's about what they represent. A future where high-value men increasingly opt out of traditional relationship structures and women lose traditional leverage. If more men become genuinely content alone, if more men select extremely carefully rather than pursuing eagerly, if more men become immune to validation-based influence, what happens to female relationship power? It equalizes at best, inverts at worst. And both outcomes are threatening to women used to having power advantage through scarcity and male need. The rise of Sigma males suggests a possible future where women need relationships more than men do, where women pursue and men select, where female approval doesn't influence male behavior, where walking away is genuinely final. That's a massive power shift. And massive power shifts are always frightening to whoever currently holds power. This doesn't mean women lose all power. Dynamics are complex and multifaceted, but it does mean traditional power sources become less reliable, and that uncertainty is uncomfortable. Practically, this shift means women dealing with Sigma males have to develop new relationship strategies. Old tools don't work. New approaches are required. Can't control through leverage. Have to offer genuine value that makes the relationship worth the autonomy cost. Can't rely on his need for the relationship. Have to be worth choosing when he's genuinely fine alone. Can't expect to be pursued. Have to demonstrate actual value that justifies his selectivity standards. Can't use validation as power. Have to offer something beyond ego maintenance. Can't maintain optionality. Have to commit or lose access permanently. These requirements are harder than traditional relationship dynamics. They require women to actually be low maintenance, genuinely interesting, authentically valuable beyond traditional metrics. And many women aren't prepared for this. They've been taught strategies that work on alphas and betas. Those strategies fail with Sigma males. So they find themselves in relationships where they have less power than they've had before, where they can't manipulate outcomes through traditional means, where they're actually being evaluated rather than just selected. That's uncomfortable. That's threatening. That creates genuine fear about whether they can maintain relationships with these men. So that's why women fear the rise of Sigma males. Traditional leverage doesn't work. These men are genuinely fine alone. They select extremely carefully. They don't need validation. They walk away permanently. Each of these factors shifts relationship power in ways women aren't used to navigating. And that shift creates genuine discomfort. This isn't about men versus women. It's about what happens when assumptions about relationship dynamics stop being true. When one group's traditional power sources stop working on a growing segment of the other group. Power shifts are always uncomfortable for whoever held power. The rise of Sigma males represents exactly that kind of shift. Whether that's good or bad depends on your perspective. But it's definitely happening, and it's definitely changing the game. If you're a Sigma male who's experienced women being uncomfortable with your genuine indifference to relationship outcomes, drop a comment with shifted and tell me which dynamic shift you've seen most clearly. If you're a woman who's found traditional relationship strategies failing with certain men, this is probably why. These men aren't playing the game you're used to. And if you're any man watching relationship dynamics shift in real time, understand what's happening. This isn't temporary. This is a fundamental change in how some men approach relationships. Until next time, understand the shifting dynamics.